In my last preview video for the 2016 British Chess Championship, I'd like to take a look at a game from a player who I consider to be the standout favourite for the event in Bournemouth, and that is of course Michael Adams. Now, this is not to insult David Howe, Gawain Jones, Nick Pert and others who are exceptionally strong players, and if they get on a roll, they could win. But for me, Adams has got the experience to take out the 2016 Championship. He's absolutely remorseless at beating slightly weaker players than himself, and he's exceptionally solid against his equals. So this ability to be almost impregnable will show itself, in my opinion, during the 2016 event, and he should have the consistency to go forward and win. Now, an absolutely typical Michael Adams game is the one I'm about to show you. It comes from the London Chess Classic in 2012, and he's playing Hikaru Nakamura. In general, Adams' results against the top players in the world are pretty solid, and he scores most of his points against them with white. And here, well, after e4, Nakamura decided to play c6. As we all know, Nakamura can play virtually anything with either colour. And this flexibility, this variety, makes him an incredibly difficult player to play against. In fact, as I recall, he's just won his first ever game against Magnus Carlsen, so he should be feeling pretty good about that. Adams plays d4 and decides just to play the solid main line with knight takes e4. And here Black's got to make his choice. Nakamura preferred to play solidly again with bishop f5. So this is the Capablanca variation, a very harmonious system of development for Black. White plays knight f3 and perhaps threatens the move knight e5, which Black conveniently stops with knight to d7. It's actually worth noting that if Black omits this move and plays, let's say, knight f6, then White can work up a nice initiative by playing knight e5, bishop h7, bishop c4, e6, and now queen to e2, with the idea of knight takes f7. Black would obviously prefer to steer around that possibility, and an easy way to do this is just to play knight d7 straight away. And now White sets up all manner of endgame advantages by playing h5. That's the main point of this move, to cramp the Black pawn structure and to look forward over the horizon into the endgame where, Black struggles to free himself on the king side. So now comes bishop d3, offering the exchange of bishops, and Black just plays e6. So you can see why this is a very attractive system for Black. It's very harmonious. Black has no issues with his pieces. It takes him a little bit of time to complete his development in this variation, but at the same time, he's got no weaknesses for White to attack. So Adams just contents himself with development, and this is the recommended procedure here. Bishop to d2, castles on the queen side, and now Black plays his queen to c7, presumably getting ready to castle long. But of course he doesn't have to do that. He can equally think about castling short, although that's much sharper in this type of position. So White now plays knight to e4. The knight's not very good on g3, so White improves the lot of that piece, and Nakamura just plays bishop to e7. Now this is all very well known theory. Well, White now has to find a good move, and Adams just plays a very constructive waiting move here, king to b1. He's waiting to see where Black's going to castle before declaring his intentions. In general, White is looking to play a move like c4 here. So I guess king b1 also fits in with that design, making the White king a little bit more secure. And now rook to d8. Okay, well this move shows Nakamura's intent. He gets his rook on the same file as the White queen, and he's probably going to castle short. The move c5 is very much a part of Black's plans when he puts his rook on d8 early. So this is why Adams takes on f6, check, and then gets his queen off the d file, trying to make c5 less of an issue. And Nakamura plays c5 straight away, reasoning that, well, there's no problem here with queen b5 check, so I may as well just free up my position, getting ready to castle. And in its own way, c5 heads off the possibility of a White kingside attack. Given that Black's going to castle short, White will be looking to somehow open lines against the black king, but it's more difficult to do this when black has initiated central counterplay right away. So c5 is a very good move. Adams takes on c5, black recaptures, and now white puts his knight in on an impressive square. Rook to d4. Again, a sharp looking move, but it had been played before. The players were just repeating theory to this point. Adams protects his knight with f4. Heading off possibilities from black of rook to e4. And only now, having created sufficient counterplay in the centre, does Nakamura castle. Okay, well now Adams plays what at the time was a new move, pawn up to c3. Does that move loosen the white king position? Well, it certainly prompts Nakamura into making an inaccuracy to get over-optimistic about his chances here. It's actually worth noting, dropping back, that should white play bishop e3, then black can take on d1 with check and drop his queen back to c7. Again, should white start pressing, and this is what white would like to do here, to press forward on the king side with g4, then black's got a safe counter in bishop d6. And if bishop d4, rook d8, all the black pieces are coming into good play. And there's no reason on earth why white should be able to crash through on the king side with limited forces at his disposal. So Adams just plays c3, and now Nakamura slightly surprisingly puts his rook on a4. Again, Nakamura is a very optimistic player. You know, he tries to win every position, he expects to win every position, and when you've got this attitude, you can sometimes make a move which looks attractive at first sight, but might strand the rook a little bit offside. It's worth noting, going back, that if black plays rook e4 here, then white puts his queen on f3. And after that, I think black's got two possibilities. He can play rook to c8, whereupon white can launch with g4. Or he may play his rook to d8, when after g4, black intends queen to b5. And if white ploughs on with g5, black's going to take it. And if c4 here, queen c5, h6. Well, both of these variations give rise to a very interesting position, where white does have some attacking chances, it's true, but all the black pieces are in active play. Well, I guess Nakamura didn't like that. He put his rook on a4, but now c4 by Adams. A very good move. And Mickey is really excellent at noticing small details in the position, that he can cut the black rook offside in this position and develop an initiative against the king by, for instance, first of all, putting his bishop on c3. It's worth noting here that if black goes b5, trying to open up lines, which may have been Nakamura's intention, then white goes bishop e3 first, driving the queen back, and now b3. And this b3 move is going to be the move which gives black difficulty, which we'll see as the game progresses. So Nakamura plays bishop d6, bishop c3, and black hastens to get rid of the powerful white knight. Should he have played rook d8, then I think Mickey may have continued with g4. This is white's essential idea. The rook on a4 is a bit offside here, so there's more chance here that a move like g4 is going to succeed. Hence bishop takes e5, f takes e5, keeping up the pressure. Knight goes back to h7. Well, the problem for black is that he has an unenviable choice with this knight. Knight h7 doesn't impress. Of course, the knight can come to g5 in subsequent play. Knight e8 was also problematic due to b3 and then rook to d7. White can systematically improve his position, and black is struggling to get his pieces into play. For instance, if knight c7, then we go queen f3, tying black down to a great extent on the 7th rank. And if black tries to break free with b5, then bishop d4, queen a3, and then queen to f2. And black has serious problems with his knight. Meanwhile, white's king is very safe. So Nakamura doesn't like that lack of coordination among his pieces. He hopes that he can find some employment for the knight on g5 a bit later on. But here comes this pesky move, b3. Mickey, at his very best, taking all the coordination away from the opponent's pieces and getting his pieces into better and better situations. So Nakamura plays knight g5, hoping that the knight's going to be able to defend the king, freeing up the rook on f8. If he went for the counter-attack here with b5, then I think white takes it. Black plays rook b6, and now bishop b2. And if queen b5, the trouble with this is that at the end of it all, white gets his rook into the game quicker than black's. And that knight on h7 is going to take some time to redeploy. Meanwhile, white has an extra pawn. He's now got 2 passed pawns on the queen side. This should be a very good position for him. Back at the game itself, Nakamura tries to coordinate his pieces. Mickey just strengthens his position in typical style. I think this type of play shows the experience that I was talking about earlier. Adams really does know how to win a one position. Whereas other players might flounder or play half-baked moves, Adams is right on the ball, playing accurate moves all the way through. Rook to b8. Well, black couldn't have been happy about that move. But if he goes queen c6, then I think rook 1 d4 is a good move, keeping the black knight out of e4, and again threatening just to gradually strangle black for good moves. An interesting idea now for white is maybe bishop d2, and what's black going to do with his knight? So going back to the game, rook to b8. Adams is happy to swap because he now sees the possibility of translating his positional superiority into a winning attack. g6, a very unhappy move for Nakamura. Rook to d7. Well, actually, it could be that white can take on g6 straight away. That looks equally strong. Perhaps Adams was getting short of time and wanted something very clear-cut. So, rook d7, we'll see this transposing more or less to the previous variation. Black is very unhappy to have to play king g8 and then king g7, but he saw no other way of beating white's pressure. White takes on f7, black recaptures, and now queen to e2. A deadly, quiet move, threatening ideas such as queen g4 check. So king g8 unpinning. There's no need to play queen g4 check now, allowing the black knight to come to g5, but just queen f3 is completely deadly. Black has no defenders around his king, and after queen f8, white can simply take on b7. As I say, once Mickey gets a winning position, he 100% wins it. And after queen g7, king b2, black is out of moves and decided to resign. An excellent win for Michael against a very formidable opponent. So we look forward to the British Chess Championship starting in just over a week's time, and I think Mickey Adams is going to win. Place your bets. You will have your own favourites. Let's see what happens.